أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This is study number 12 of the Ramadan Daily Quran studies for the year 2022, presented by myself, Zahid Aziz, on behalf of the Anjuman Ishat Islam Lahore, UK. And the topic of this study is the language of prayer. And I will begin by reciting 3 verses of the Holy Quran relating to language. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن آياته خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآية للعالمين, which is, and of his signs, the signs of Allah, of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your tongues and colors. Surely there are signs on this, surely there are signs in this for the learned. Chapter 30, verse 22. And again, فَإِنَّمَا يَسَّرْنَاهُ بِلِسَانِكَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, and that is, so we have made it easy in your tongue, that is to say the Holy Quran and its revelation. So we have made it easy in your tongue, that is to say the Holy Prophet Muhammad's language, that people may be mindful. Chapter 44, verse 58. And thirdly, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُّدَّكِرٍ, which is, and certainly we have made the Quran easy to remember. يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ, we have made the Quran easy to remember, but is there anyone who will be mindful? This is chapter 54, verse 17. Now it's quite natural that a person would like to unfold his heart before God by praying in the language in which he or she can most readily express their feelings. And this is fully recognized in Islam, not only in private prayer, but in the course of the congregational public service as well. The worshipper is free to pray to God in his own tongue after or during the recitation of portions of the Holy Quran in the standing posture, or after saying the words of divine glory while bowing down in ruku or in prostration, that is to say sajda. Now, in the public service, in the congregational service, such prayers would, of course, be limited since the worshipper has to follow the imam. But in the private, individual part of the prayer, these prayers of one's own may be of any length. But the congregational service needs to be conducted in a language which is common to all Muslims. Otherwise, prayer would fail in achieving one of its great purposes, which is the unification of Muslims through prayer. Muslims of a particular neighborhood or locality gather for daily prayers. Then on Fridays, there is the more extensive gathering for the midday Jummah prayers. And then larger again are the assemblies for the Eid prayers. And last of all, there is that mighty assemblage at Makkah, at the time of the pilgrimage of all nations and all races who meet, who gather on the most perfect status of equality. Without using a common language for those words which are uttered out loud during these devotions, without a common language, the object of uniting humanity through prayer would fail completely. And that common language, it is quite obvious, can't be anything other than Arabic, the language of the Holy Quran. And the Holy Quran itself says to the Holy Prophet Muhammad, وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينُ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِكَ لِتَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُنذِرِينَ بِلِسَانٍ عَرَبِيٍّ مُبِينٍ, which is, and surely this is a revelation from the Lord of the worlds, the faithful spirit, or you could say the angel Jibrail, the faithful spirit has brought it on your heart, that's to say the heart of the Holy Prophet, that you may be a warner in plain Arabic language. Bilisanin Arabiyyin Mubin. Chapter 26, verses 192 to 195. Now, an objection may be raised that a service held in another language, a language different from the language of the people in the congregation, will not fulfill the purpose of worship. And the answer to that is that the Islamic prayer does not consist only of words or expressing feelings by means only of words. There is also the attitude of mind, the inner feeling itself, and words are just an expression of that. And this prayerful attitude of mind is produced, first of all, by the atmosphere around the worshipper and by the particular postures which he adopts. So it's the mood more than words which generates a spirit of humility. And the first condition of a prayerful mind is humility. As the Holy Quran itself has stated in a verse which I've quoted before, that successful indeed are the believers who are humble in their prayers. Chapter 23, verses 1 to 2. So the first condition of prayerful mind is humility, and that is created by this general atmosphere in the congregational prayer and the mood of the people. Now suppose there is a person who takes part in this congregational service without understanding a word of Arabic. It would still be entirely wrong to say that prayer does not benefit him, because there are the movements of his body, the raising of hands to the ears, the standing up reverentially with folded hands, the bowing down, the placing of the forehead on the ground, and sitting down in a posture of worship. All these go a long way towards producing humility and consciousness of the presence of God in that person's mind. In fact, his whole self is expressive of exactly what the words convey. Of course, it will be highly more beneficial if he understands the spoken language, but it is absurd to say that the language of movements has no meaning for him. The most often repeated expressions in prayer and the 7 short sentences of the opening chapter of the Holy Quran, the Fatiha, all these can be learned along with their meanings in a short time and with very little effort. Even if the divine service were held in one's own language, still people would have to spend some time in learning the prayers, even in their own language. And learning the significance of the Arabic words without actually learning Arabic, learning the significance of the Arabic words which you are uttering only requires a little additional time over and above if someone was learning in their own language. So if you keep in view the great purpose of unifying the human race through the prayer service, then this little extra time is certainly worthwhile spending. Now the Holy Quran also says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ. And we sent no messenger but with the language of his people, so that he might explain to them clearly. Chapter 14, verse 4. Now this verse tells us that every messenger explained his teachings to his people in their own language. This is why the Holy Quran was revealed in Arabic, the language of the Holy Prophet Muhammad and his people. And although we say certain essential parts of our regular prayer in Arabic, for the reasons I mentioned already, the meanings of those parts, which have to be said in Arabic, the meanings of those parts should be explained to us in our own language by our teachers of religion, since it is stated in the verse which I've just quoted, that messengers were sent with the language of their people in order to explain to them. So there are very strong reasons, very compelling reasons for maintaining the public part of the prayer in Arabic, but there are equally strong reasons that people should learn the significance of those parts. So that is the end of this study. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Ameen.